In this video demonstration, we're going to take a look at hollowing a ring by using the split method. In comparison, the hollowing cutter, this method is really good for rings that are hollow underneath that are not ideal to be cut with the 12mm disc cutter. Obviously, the radius of the disc cutter doesn't fit well in this space, so we'd be better off with a different approach. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to split this ring in half. Then we're going to mill it in 2 sections. Then we're going to put the sections back together, and the last step will be to mill it on the rotary axis to clean off how we join the ring together. So the first step is going to be to put a plane out on screen. And we're going to need to split the entire ring with the plane. And if you see split failed up here, don't worry about that. It's usually an object that's on the ring that's out here in space that doesn't have an intersection with the plane, so it won't split. We'll go ahead and turn off all these stones as well. And you can see that indeed the ring split right in half. Next up, we will take our plane and split it with the ring. And then we can get rid of all of the plane sections. Hide 1/2 of the ring. Shade this. And at the end of the day, we should have surfaces that cap the ring surface, so that when the cutter approaches from one side, you don't run into trouble. It's not milling inside where it shouldn't. So now we need to make a copy of all of those pieces. So I'm just going to Control C. Now I'm going to lock this all together. I'm going to group this all together by typing group in the command line. Then I can show the other half of the ring, paste the pieces the matching pieces that I just copied, so a Control V as in Victor is going to paste those pieces on this half of the ring, and then we're going to group those together. Show both halves of the ring, and now we're ready to enter into the Revo Mill Builder. We've got 2 halves of the ring. Hit the Revo Mill Builder button. We're going to enter into the Revo C Mill Builder. Place the entire model in the model window. The ring model will automatically toggle to the on position, and if there's a ring rail included, it will be included in the ring size information. You need to verify that this information is correct. Choose the split ring option in the lower left-hand corner, and an instruction panel will populate down below, instructing you to put the bottom half of the ring in the box, in the model window box. And they want the bottom half in the looking down viewport. So in the looking down viewport, select the bottom half and place that in the model window. Your wax preview image now shifts up to center on the upper half of the ring. Click Next. On this page, it's telling us that we should use a 15mm block of wax. I'm going to take their suggestion, click Next, and on this page, let's change this to plastic. On this page, we're going to be deciding the approach angle. To decide the approach angle, you need to understand a little bit about the process. Step 1, when it mills both sides out flat, it's going to leave a flange of wax all the way around the outer face of the ring. The two halves the flanges on the two halves will be mated up on the 3-prong mandrel. So you'll slide both halves onto the 3-prong mandrel and heat up, melt the wax flange together, adhering the two pieces of the ring together. Then the last phase will be on the rotary axis on the 3-prong mandrel. The mill will clean up the outer face of the ring and mill off the flange, leaving you a perfectly hollowed wax. So we're going to leave all of the cleanup on the outer face of the wax for the rotary process. So choose the two-sided option here and click Next. We want to create a hub that's thinner than the model but thicker than the ring shank, so 6 millimeters should be great. Click Make Hub and place the hub into the hub window. Click Next. Note that the hub was made on one half of the ring. Everything that you're going to see on screen is going to display one half of the ring. You have to trust that the same is going to happen for the other half. Even if it's an asymmetric piece, the software is only going to display one half of the preview image. Click Next, and let's just go ahead and make the paths. Here in the path process, you can see it calculating off of one half of the geometry. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the paths. The hub's being cut on the first load part. The second load part is the two sides of the auto flip or the dual fixture. The slider calibration will be the next step. Again, the next step is the slider calibration, and the last step is the rotary axis. And you can see it just shadowing, draping all across that geometry. Well, I want to utilize my border distance on this like we've seen in other videos. So let's open up the rotary on center hub and change the border distance to 0. Click Set and make the paths again. Okay, we'll take a look at the tool paths. You can see the hub being cut out, the duals, you can note that the flange being cut out. You can see it in the toolpath, a step away from the model. You can really see it here on the shank. The next two portions have to do with the slide rule at the bottom of the wax. And then the rotary section, the new portion that doesn't drape over the edge. It's confined, it cuts across, it cuts in between the split on the shank. So as long as you don't drip any excess wax around the edge, when you're waxing it together, it should work great. When it comes to loading this project on the mill, click the Action button, the Load Job Action button, and find where you stored that file. I stored it on the desktop, so I'm going to select it here, and I'm going to load the Revo file into position 1 and load the Revo 2 file into position 2. So it's created two halves, two sides to the dual-sided fixture. So it's created one half for position 1 and one half in position 2. Click open, run the job like normal. When the job is completed, you're going to end up with the dual fixture like so. Cut the supports off of the wax model, removing the wax, freeing it from the block. Next, slide both halves onto the ring fixture and wax together the outer flange. You're ready to load the third load part onto the mill. Load the job, find the location of the file, load the Revo file, and this time bypass the dual fixture. So bypass job 1 and job 2. Begin with the first center hub load part and click open. At the end of the job, you'll have a fully hollowed model.